The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, but conformity. Rollo May said that. If you apply that statement to the world of automobiles, it equals the modern trend of SUVs, the sport utility vehicle. Despite the advice from car journalists and car experts, people flock onto the SUV bandwagon, which is a wordplay on the dying age of the station wagon. Why are humans so fascinated with cars? What service have they rendered to humanity? Do they influence humanity in a broader sense? We have entered the era of hypercars. Is it a vision for the future today? Many argue that their cutting-edge technology trickles down into everyday cars and benefits the common good as they go about their meaningful and perhaps trivial tasks. But are cars more than a transportation device? Is it a manifestation of freedom, technology, and art? Does its meaning transcend its relevance? One liken it to jazz, if you have to ask.
Welcome back to Vision Coupe, where we want you to wake up and believe. So, back to the idea of courage. And the opposite of courage is not to conform. Today we're not going to talk about SUVs. We're not going to talk about station wagons because they are almost an extinct model type of vehicle. But we're going to talk about the minivan. And I'm going to argue that the minivan is a true Lion King. Disclaimer for families. The minivan. Before you reject the idea, all I'm asking you to do is do not reject it. I'm not even asking you to accept the idea. All I'm asking you to do is to consider the idea. And just like Morpheus told Neo, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And today we're going to walk the path of the minivan. So, before you conform to the SUV, all I'm asking you to do is to stop and think. And follow the advice of Socrates, who said, the unexamined life is not worth living. So let us examine the path of the Lion King, the minivan, and find out the truth and see if this truth will give you freedom. Let's journey on. Taking a quick look at the interior of the Toyota Sienna XLE model. And looking at the features of this vehicle, there are too many even to mention, as all that you can imagine is right here. But taking a quick look on the inside, you have wonderful material. You have a 6-disc CD changer, air condition, leather seats, leather wrapped steering wheel, cruise control, there's a sunroof, automatic doors, there's a carpet, there's everything a family need. And again, that's why the Sienna and the minivan is the Lion King. And before we take it for a drive, take a quick look at the engine. And here's the heart of the Lion King, the power plant, the engine. And this one has a wonderful V6 engine. Hybrid cars are wonderful, electrification are wonderful, but there's nothing like a good old naturally aspirated V6. And this one is exactly that. We're driving the Toyota Sienna XLE 2002 model. And this one is quite comfortable. It feels like driving a yacht. It's swaying, it's like being on the ocean. It's super comfortable suspension. When I think of this, it's kind of like going to the zoo. The zoo, most people really enjoy the zoo. But there's one thing at the zoo that is just so fascinating. That's when you hear the roar of the lion. And I've heard You can hear it from about a mile to 3 miles away. And I'm gonna open the windows and you're gonna hear the roar of the Lion King. Naturally aspirated V6. Sorry for it's a little hard to hear me, but I want you to hear the unadulterated experience of the Lion King. And just like that, 150 miles an hour, almost. Coming to stoplight, the brakes are what the brakes are supposed to do. They stop the vehicle, and it runs smooth. So to conclude, a pleasant ride, plenty of space, plenty of power, all the modern amenities you can really ask for in a car. Sure, there's more you can get, but do you really need it? No, you don't. This does the job. So, with that, I just want to leave you with this thought. I asked you to not reject what I argued about the minivan, about the Lion King. I also said you don't have to accept it. All I'm asking is if you take a little bit of time to stop, to think, to reflect, and to consider a minivan, the Lion King. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.